third book. We'll get it.
I got to get a PG version.
She like, yeah, well, okay.
I need to get a PG version because I forgot my.
Yeah, that was cool though. I like that.
I got my great niece and nephew in here.
Yeah, they good.
Uh-oh.
They all right.
Hey, you're listening to OZZz on Smash Bros Radio. Hey, we appreciate you. I have a fantastic guest today. I got Mom and Daddy with me. And then I got my great niece and nephew, Chop and Journey. We're going to catch up on a lot because a lot is going on. So we're going to go ahead and get everything started. Mom and Dad, introduce yourselves, please.
Hey, everybody. I'm Tanisha Foster.
Hey, and I'm Brandon Foster.
Niece and nephew.
I'm Journey Foster. Chop Foster.
Chop Foster.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine what it's like to be a parent. I can't even fathom what it's like to be a parent now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can't even imagine having the type of children that you have. Because, you know, they don't fit the norm. When I say they don't fit the norm, there's a speciality about them because they're not only creative, but they have that old school mentality,
Mm-hmm.
which we don't have no more. So, when you had Journey and when you had Chop, did you raise them pretty much in line with the way that y'all were raised?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. One thing I know I used to do with them, really both me and Tanisha used to do with them, like when they were small and they could even talk, we would talk to them like they were adults. So when they started speaking earlier and saying certain words, people would be surprised, like, man, how did they know how to speak like this? But we would
Right.
talk to them. We wouldn't do that baby talk and all that. We'd
So
be like,
that's where they get it from.
yeah. And we expose them to a lot of things too, different types of music, from hip hop to rock and roll to old school R&B. They can tell you who the Temptations are. They can tell you who New Edition is. They can tell you who Otis Redding is, because I exposed them to them.
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley. They love Bob Marley. And my father exposed me and my brother to that too. So we all kind of like different things like that.
Now I have a question because I get confused. From what I understand, early in Birmingham, there was, and there may have been more, but it was my understanding there were 10 prominent black families that were really substance of Birmingham. You had the Fosters, you had the Harvilles, you had the Williams, and you had, I don't want to misplace, but I remember the Fosters, the Harvilles, and the Williams. And then when it came to what I call the change, that the white establishment went to these families, and because of their families having integrity, they didn't go along with what the white established wanted. So that's why the white established chose other families. And I'm not putting any family down. I just want people to understand the history. So when it came down to, and people have to understand, when it came down to the black politicians in the earlier days, 9 times out of 10, it was a white establishment that chose those black families. But because of the Fosters and the Harvilles having integrity and understanding what the white establishment wanted, they didn't go with that plan. So with you being a Foster, did you understand the strength of your name and understand the history of what your family actually means to Birmingham?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I take pride in my last name. I always joke with them about that, my last name, all the time. Like, y'all are Fosters. Be proud of it. Make us proud. Make the family name proud. I always tell them things like that. And the same thing with my father. Like, I look up to him. That's the man to me. All my uncles, those were the men to me. The ones that are alive and the ones that are deceased. My aunties as well, the same thing. So I take pride in it for real.
Because from what I understand, those 10 families, I think 6 of the 10, the families were preachers, or they were active in the church. And that's one reason why the white establishment went to them, because back, from what I understand, back then, you had the preachers and the teachers that were looked up to in the black community. And so the Slosses, the Paris, the Slosh, can't think of the other two, but they understood the importance of a preacher and a teacher in the community. And so that was one reason why the white establishment wanted the preachers and teachers, because of the respect, but they failed to realize because of the education that came with that family, the family was able to interpret exactly what, oh, so you want us to be puppets. That's what you wanted us to do. And so they didn't go along with it. And so now I'm not putting down anybody. I understand that. I'm not putting down anybody. I'm friends.
We understand.
When I came to Birmingham, I was very fortunate to have met both sides. So I'm friends. So I want everybody to understand, I'm not putting anybody down. And if you feel like I am, well, that's your problem. It's not mine. But I just want everybody to understand that with some names comes a lot of power and comes a lot of responsibility. And so with the way that you raise Chop and Journey, I see that in them, the respect, and even at a young age, I see the strength that they have. But then when you see the situation that we're in now, y'all have done a fantastic job. I mean, considering y'all, I mean, all of you, both of you are in public light. Both of you have public jobs. And so you have pretty much of a balancing, because you have to compromise on certain things because of the position that you have, but also you understand the responsibility that you have when it comes to the integrity of your family.
That's right.
So because with Chop's food allergy, and because of you doing research, you had the chance to come up with an organization that deals with food allergies, right?
That's right.
How's that coming?
So that we started Chop Friendly. What did you say, Chop? Was it 2018? Now look at you, mastermind. Yes, we started Chop Friendly. Initially, when we started, we weren't thinking about how to show up in the community. We were trying to stay safe
Right.
and to make sure that Chop had a full life and that he could experience socializing in the way that we do. Food is typically centered around like different social settings.
Right.
It's difficult to be in a social setting and food not be on the table or involved.
Because both y'all come from large families, correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
So when so it's like a convention when everybody comes together.
Yeah.
Right, you're going to have all the spread. You're going to have everything out. You're going to have the collard greens and the mac and cheese and cornbread and chicken and everything.
Wow.
And so that's what we were about in the beginning. Like, we want our kids to be able to show up and never feel like outsiders, to
Right.
feel excluded. And so we were constantly researching to figure out how to keep Chop included where people didn't treat him differently
Right.
because of something that he couldn't eat. But finding like safe ways of how to include him and be successful. Like, I remember a time we went to a family gathering and we had a family member to joke, I'm going to give him mac and cheese anyway. This is after she knew, I don't think she realized the severity of his food allergies
Right.
at the time. And there was a harsh verbal exchange between me and this particular family member because I wanted her to understand we don't even joke like that. We don't play like that. This
Right.
is not only his life, but this is his self-esteem.
Correct.
He may not be old enough to understand your jokes now, but at some point he will.
Right.
And we didn't want him to feel isolated or ostracized. And so that's how we got started, just trying to take care of him. And when Johnny came along, she's always been like the observant child, pay attention. And she would see us read labels and show things to Chop. And so I'm proud to say that I could see Johnny developing and taking the initiative to get in on the learning early on
Right.
without being coerced or me saying, hey, you have to look out for your brother.
Right.
That was already in her because of what she saw me and Brandon do.
Mm-hmm.
So, with you doing the research, were you surprised at some of the answers that you found?
Yes, let me tell you. One day, I think he was still in the car. He was still in the car seat. I had Brandon and Chop sitting in the car for a little while just to kind of hang out and listen to some music. And I went into Whole Foods. And I don't know how long I was in this store. I walked every single aisle, reading every label of foods that I thought that he might enjoy. And I remember scrutinizing those labels and filling up that basket so fast with all these different type of like pizzas or, things that kids like, chicken fingers and corn dogs, all kind of stuff. And I boohooed like a baby shopping. Because I was thinking, like, my kid can have just what all the other kids are having. We just have to make some adjustments.
Right.
And, of course, I took some time to go back and research those foods before introducing them to him. But I remember the first time he had a potato chip, it was that same day. I passed the chips that were made with what was called quinoa, which is a form of wheat. Well, a variation of wheat. And I still remember the sound of him chewing on those chips like a little gerbil. And I mean, when I tell you, my heart was so happy. And Journey and Chop always had those chips for a long time. They were the barbecue quinoa. You probably don't remember. But I still remember the sound. And thinking, my kid can have chip soup. Because before then, it was difficult to find a potato chip that wasn't going to hospitalize them.
Because, see, we don't take it, we don't take it seriously.
Things you take for granted.
Right. Okay, so you have a peanut allergy. Okay. But we don't understand that the oil from the peanut is in a lot of foods that we eat.
That's right.
And I'm finding out that we're trying to, I'm not going to go all vegan. Not yet. But anyway, but I'm
Take your
learning.
time.
Yeah, because it can get frustrating and it can become overpowering because you would think that, okay, this is going to be easy for me to become vegan or whatever. But it's not, because if you're really going to do it, you have to do the research, because I look at it this way. If you're Muslim, you can't have pork. That means that anything that deals with pork, you cannot have in your diet. But I'm understanding, we don't understand that pork is in a lot of stuff.
Even medications.
Even medication, as well as toothpaste.
Mm-hmm.
That's how come I don't use Crest or Colgate.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how are you going to get a pig? So it goes back to when it comes to vegan, and also when it comes to food allergies, we take for granted, those of us who are not limited, because we think that, but it's not. And then when you have a child that has an allergy, oh goodness. So I think that when it comes to most issues that we're having, that the majority of us that don't have to go through it, we really don't care.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible attitude to have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't affect me, so what do I care? Well, you don't know when it is going to affect you, because you may come up to where you have to be cautious as what you eat because of your health.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I kind of have a stance that I take when it comes to how we live. And I always explain to the kids, if people don't hear you, you make them hear you.
Right.
Especially when this is your life,
Yes, ma'am.
your voice matters.
Right.
If they won't respect that you can't eat certain things, you make them understand.
That's right.
If they don't respect that you have an opinion, even outside of food, you make them hear you.
Right.
And that's interesting as a parent. I heard you mention, like, it's difficult being a parent, because for us, we want them to have a healthy balance of respect and not speaking over other people or being dismissive or disregarding or just not respecting authority, but also balancing that with, you still have a right to your opinions.
Correct.
And your feelings are valid.
Right.
So you make them. One of the things I tell Chop is, if someone is offering you something that you can have, you make them understand.
Right.
It is your responsibility. Journey, if you feel that you're being overlooked, you show up and you make people watch.
That's right. Do y'all understand that?
Yes.
You understand that? But see, when I was back in the dark ages,
The dark ages, the olden times, Journey.
Yeah. we weren't taught that. We were taught that you to listen and you do as I tell you. But then, as I get up older, I understand that with the way things are evolving now, you have to start young. You have to start at the point to where, like you were saying, baby talk is no longer acceptable. It's not acceptable. You have an opinion and you have a thought. And I'm finding out at 63, even at 63, I'm understanding that it's how you do it if you want the message to get across.
That's right.
Now, this radio is all new to me. All new to me. So, and that's one reason why I'm learning now that sometimes I have to back up. I have to watch how I say something if I want the message to get heard.
Mm-hmm.
And at 63, that's hard, because at 63, I don't really care no more. I feel that I've earned my right for whatever. But when God has placed into your path, and I really don't understand why he did this to me, because I was ready to sit down, that sometimes you have much more to give and much more to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you wish to learn it or not, you're going to learn it. So either you're going to learn it on my time or you're going to learn it on your time. And I've just learned now that, okay, you've given me this. I really don't want it, but for whatever reason, you've given it to me. I ain't gonna fight you no more.
So you gonna learn today.
I'm gonna learn today. So I'm learning. But it's really embarrassing when I see two youngsters, two young adults that already have that. And I'm like, you kind of slow because you have two youngsters before you that already have that responsibility, that notoriety. And here I'm at 63 still learning.
We're all still learning, though.
Mhm.
They're still learning, too.
So because what you have set up for them, they have taken it and they run with it. Because now they're at the point that what is this, the third book or second book?
Second. This is second.
Second book. So this is the second book. Now, what was your first book?
The Sleepover the Missing Bag.
And you can get both books on Amazon, correct?
That's right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, now what is the second book?
The Boogie Out Birthday Party.
Oh. So tell us, because just in case people don't know, what was the first book about?
A sleepover.
And what about the sleepover? Move the mic closer, right in between you and Journey.
He loses his medicine bag, but his sister helps out. Brings it
Okay.
to him.
Say it one more time.
It's about a sleepover, and Al misses his medicine bag, and his sister helps out for him.
So was the first book based on you and Journey?
Yeah.
Ah! So it's on Amazon. We can get it on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Okay, what about the second book? What's the second book about?
A birthday
The
party.
And how did you come up with that?
Well, Mommy always makes sure me and Journey have a good birthday.
And you can find that on Amazon.
Uh-huh.
Ooh. And then Miss Journey was acknowledged by the state of Alabama because of her artwork. So how did you come up with your artwork?
We had yarn and we just dropped it in the paper.
And so you were chosen from the other students in Alabama? Wow.
They selected different children's art from all over the state, from different schools and school systems everywhere, and then they put them up for display at the state capitol. And I think from there they kind of, I guess they ranked them in first place, second place, third place.
Right.
But it was still like a big thing to have our art up there.
Yes.
So we all went down to Montgomery and I saw the art, me and all of them and my in-laws, my parents, we all went down there and looked at it. And their godmother as well. Mm-hmm.
Journey did a good job on her art.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
I
Johnny
mean,
did good.
they gave her an assignment. I think they said they wanted her to do an abstract or something like that. And she
Get
just did it.
out.
Mm-hmm.
So what's on the horizon now? So you got art in your blood. You got being an author in your blood. What's next? What's coming up next?
We were on the news.
You what now?
We were on the news.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're a public what do you call it?
Public figure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do with your stories?
Turn them into a TV show.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
There you go. And I can see that. I actually can see that. So of the two, for less of a different, who's the most, I hate the word aggressive, but who's the most stand up? Who
Me.
Yeah.
Johnny, do you agree with that?
No.
I will
Speak
say
into the mic.
Choppy is the most
No.
aggressive. I mean, the most vocal, but Journey, if you gonna say aggressive, it's gonna be J Baby on that.
She's not aggressive. She's assertive.
Sir, that's the word. Thank you.
Okay, assertive. That's a better way to
Thank you.
say it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. Assertive. Good.
Oh yeah.
So you've gone from being an author of 2 books to being an artist, and so now you're coming up to being what do you call it? A script writer. Is that what you call it? A script writer coming up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Man. And then you had something happen In church, what happened in church?
You got baptized.
Ooh.
See? Now, what made you get baptized?
Yeah. George were thinking about it.
You what now?
Me and George were thinking about it. And we wanted to get baptized, and we asked Mom.
That's a lot of responsibility, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
She told us to tell 3 people.
Mhm. When you made the decision, I encouraged you to give a testimony to at least 3 people so they would be your witnesses.
And we had to read a script in the Bible about it.
I'm proud of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I am so proud of y'all.
Thank you.
But see, that's what kind of gets me emotional the most is because with everything transpiring, with everything that is evolving and what we've gone through, we're seeing that those individuals that should have stayed in the darkness is no longer the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing now that individuals feel free to freely to say and do anything that they feel that they can. But they fail to realize that when it comes to the next generation, an adult cannot do that to a child. And that's one reason why I value you the most, because of your constitution that you have, the strength that you have. And I think that goes back to being in church too. And I think that's one thing that's missing, because we were talking earlier about and I think that's what's missing is that you not only had the neighborhood that was involved in the lives, but also you had the church.
Mm-hmm.
And whether I wanted to go to church or not, that was not an issue. You were going to go to church.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the things that's missing, and that could be the most pivotal thing that's missing, that is absent, is the church. I don't think that the church is as prominent as what it was back during my day.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one.
Because, like we was talking earlier, back during the dark ages, everything was in the community. You had the church, you had the school, you had the shopping center. Everything that we wanted and needed was in that neighborhood. We technically really didn't have to leave the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time we left the neighborhood was when another preacher was having an anniversary, or when the choirs were visiting with each other. But everybody was in, and even the teachers lived in the neighborhood. So there wasn't, I couldn't do anything.
Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew who you were too.
Everybody knew who I was. And then the teachers and all. So, but I think that the most pivotal thing is a church. Go ahead.
I was going to interject and say, excuse me. To me, the church, the church represents accountability. And when you said that you couldn't do anything, I feel that what's missing is a lot of individuals don't want accountability.
Correct.
We don't want to be accountable to ourselves, let alone to somebody else.
Right.
And so when you take that accountability factor away, you have people who've lost a sense of respect.
Correct.
I think for their fellow man.
Right.
You can't respect me if you don't want accountability.
Correct.
For my boundaries or my thoughts or my ideas. And so I feel like that's what's missing. That's accountability is what's missing from the church.
Right.
People don't want to go to church anymore because they don't want that accountability.
Right. And to see, I think it's being a parent is one of the hardest responsibility now than it ever was. Of course, you're going to have some similarities with being a parent because you need to teach them responsibility. You need to teach them to be productive, to be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
But see, we didn't have boundaries. It was understood that as a child, there were certain things that we couldn't do. There were certain things we better not question. We didn't even know about questioning. Question who? I mean, there was a certain look that we would better not have.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to be knocked into tomorrow and then brought back and say, you want to be knocked back again.
Yeah. I still feel that same way about it. I don't mind them asking me questions. They trying to learn something from me.
Right.
But don't ask me questions because you're trying to challenge me. That's what we don't do here.
Right.
We don't do that.
And see, and I
Old
think
school parenting still works.
see,
Mm-hmm.
because see, the boundaries and the challenge, because children are going to be children no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And you want them to spread their wings, but you want them to spread their wings in a respectful way.
Mm-hmm.
And like I used to tell my godkids, an adult handles an adult. I can handle an adult. If you feel that you're being mistreated or you feel that something isn't correct, you come to me with it, and then I deal with it. Now, the hard-headed one, I knew he would challenge God. So I used to tell all of them, I can handle an adult, but if you handle it and you take control of the situation, well, you've taken it out of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you started, you better rectify it. Because see, I'm not coming to the person that I'm coming to you because you started it. You stepped out of your place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finding now that teachers aren't teachers no more. And I don't want to put it all on one individual, but it seems like once that individual became prominent and became focused, that these individuals that have the questionable characteristics felt that they had a freedom to do whatever they want to. Because I'm finding out now, and I'm discovering now that you have school systems and you have teachers that actually will lie purposely, venomously, for whatever reason. And see, being a Dutch uncle, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it.
I'm curious, when you made your comment, Chop nodded his head about teachers lying. Is there, what's your thought about that?
Sometimes in history, the teachers lie because some of those things are not true. Sometimes they're lying. Like Christopher Columbus didn't actually find a land. He killed the people on that land and got them.
In the Pilgrim.
There you go. See, I think that as a parent nowadays, because the information is so readily available.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go to, if you have a smartphone, you can go to Sirius and ask any question.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know how to ask the question, it's going to give you an answer.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm finding out that jealousy plays a part in some of these actions. And the one thing that I'm most concerned when it comes to Chop and when it comes to Journey, because of their creativity, because of who they are, they can't help who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They can't help that they have the creativity that they have. They can't help that they have the village that they have or the mentality that they have. And so you're going to find that some adults that have authority don't like that for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, we have the tendency of using the word prejudice instead of racist, because prejudice doesn't have such an impact. And to me, those words are not interchangeable. I'm prejudiced. I'm very prejudiced. I don't like Ford trucks. I don't like Dodge trucks.
See, I'm a Ram man, though.
So-
I think he was throwing a little shade to your truck, Brandon.
No.
Ram all day.
Tell us how you really feel, Mr. Hughes.
So, you have a Ram truck?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I got a Ram 1500. No, Ram 1500. That's my baby.
See, I was raised with Chevys,
Mhm.
Chevy and Fords.
Yeah.
So we don't want to hurt people's feelings for whatever reason.
Mhm.
But when I guess I'm using this as an example or as an excuse, but in a way, it's really not. I was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis in 1980-81.
Mhm.
I was a cheerleader. I was a mascot.
What is that? What is that?
Myasthenia gravis is a neuromuscular disease. It's a form of muscular dystrophy.
Okay.
So it's not like multiple sclerosis because there's no deterioration of the muscles and all. It just means that the messages aren't being received. So when they couldn't diagnose it and all, I was very weak. So the doctor, once they were finally able to diagnose that I had myasthenia. Now, see, I was a sophomore in college. I was just starting my major. So the doctor gave me 6 weeks to a year to live. That devastated me.
Wow.
But see, I had a grandmother who had faith and who believed. So when we came home, she told me to go to my room and to pray. And so I did. I went to my room and I prayed for guidance. I prayed for understanding. I prayed for strength. And she said, and when I got finished and came out, she said, we're not going to talk about this no more because you prayed, so you've given it to God. You leave it alone. Mm-hmm. She said, too many of us pray and don't understand that when we pray, you've already given it to God. You ask for help. Well, he's already taking it. He's taking the responsibility. But when you allow negativity and when you allow doubts to come in, you've taken it away from him, what you've given to him. So if you take it away from him, you don't want anything done. So she said, we're not going to talk about this no more. It's done. You've given it to him. And I think that because I'm not thinking about it no more. Mm-hmm. And allowing him to hold on to it. And she said he's going to do it in his own time. It's not going to be your time. Mm-hmm. It's going to be his time. But understand, he's got it. He knows what you need. You've asked for it. And so now after 40-something years, I'm still here. So in my head, I've beaten death. So I'm allowed, in my head, may not be true, but in my head, I think that it allows me to do certain things that some people don't do. Mm-hmm. But I'm learning that your arrogance can get you in trouble. And I didn't see it as arrogance. Mm-hmm. But when I'm looking at some of these adults in the positions that they're holding, and when they see, I'm going to use Chop and Journey. You don't mind me using you for example. But when you see individuals like Chop and Journey being creative, being noticed, and I'm a teacher and I have children. Well, I'm a teacher. How come my child isn't? Well, because don't know. Maybe you didn't know how to raise them. Mm-hmm. Don't know. But because of Chop and Journey being who they are, well, we can't come to you because we know that you can handle us. So we're going to handle them. And one thing that I want Chop and Journey to understand is that no matter what, you are creative, you are brilliant, you are fantastic, and you can't help that. You understand? And if someone has a problem with that, that's not your problem. That's their problem. Now, and I know that when you stay in your place and you've handled it and you've taken it to the right authority and that authority has not handled it correctly, you know who to go to. You know to go to your mom and dad. And then on top of that, you're extremely blessed because you have a strong village. You have individuals that will always be there for you. And see, other individuals at a disadvantage because now you have a great uncle who's a Dutch uncle that I really don't care. You understand? Because see, with me being retired, I don't care. You understand? I don't have to be tactful when it comes to you. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And as young as you are, you're going to, and see, one reason why you are going through certain things is to prepare you for what the greatness that you have coming to you. Do you understand? Because see, you have to experience consequences to get strong for when you become, for lack of another word, when you become famous. You understand? Because when you become to a certain level, you have a certain responsibility, but that responsibility also comes back to you have to understand who is in your circle, because everybody can't be in your circle. And those individuals who call, or you call its friend, if they do something that you don't like and they don't stop, well, then they're not your friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell them that all the time. Everybody ain't your friend.
That's it.
If they treating you a certain way in a negative way, they're not your friend. You don't gotta hang with them. Talk to them.
No.
You're gonna find some friends that's gonna treat you right. Y'all
Right.
gonna have some common things that y'all enjoy. Those are your friends. That they look out for you. Y'all talk to each other. That's how it goes. Just because they speak to you one day doesn't make them your friend. That's not how that goes at all. I tell them that all the time.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So you are going to be great. And I'm going to let you know now. I mean, I don't even have a book. I've been writing my book for too long. I've been writing my book for 10 years. And I'm 63. And you got 2 books already. And Miss Journey is already got art being shown in Alabama on the news.
Mm-hmm.
That's greatness. That's greatness. So what I'm about to tell you, ask your mom and your dad. But what I'm about to tell you, when you meet individuals that come to you negatively, with you being baptized, you just look them in the eyes and you say that God loves you. And he's going to bless you. And if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to get my great uncle on you. And you tell your mom or your dad to give me a call. And then I'll be there, okay? And then if they really get wrong, say, don't have me get my uncle on you. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Because, see, you can't help how great you are. And you never allow anyone to diminish your shine. Do you understand? Because, God gave you that. You understand? God gave you that. And because God gave you that, no one can take that away from you. No one can take that away from you. People are going to be jealous of you because of who you are. That's not your problem. That's not your problem. People can write books. I'm writing a book. I ain't got it published yet, but I'm writing a book. Everybody can do the same thing that you're doing. But see, you had the initiative to go the step further. And like your dad said, everyone's not going to be your friend. You're going to have some people who want to be your friend because they want to share your spotlight. They want to share your shine. And they don't seem to understand that's your shine. You can't share. You have to have your own shine. So see, people can't have what you have. They have to do for themselves. You understand? So you let everybody know that God loves you and that he cares for you. And if you don't stop, I'm going to get my great uncle on you. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So you have 2 books we can find on Amazon. And you have a script coming up for a sitcom.
Go ahead and manifest it.
See? Because we're claiming that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Mom wrote a book too.
Do what now?
My mom wrote a book too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we have a 3rd book in the series, in the Journey with Us by Chop Friendly series. And everything that you just mentioned about having resilience and remembering who you are and what you're made of is what Smiles for Miles Brown highlights.
Sweet.
And so I was inspired by them to be able to share my perspective on some things regarding not just them, but other kids, especially brown children of color.
Right.
In the different experiences of how sometimes they're excluded, just like with food allergies.
Right.
How they can be excluded when they're creative and they're great and they have beautiful gifts to offer. How sometimes those gifts are overlooked.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you forget that they're there.
Right.
Because they're overlooked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I think because of your position And then plus two, we fail to realize, and one thing that I try to get a friend of mine to understand, she was the vice president of resources over at Regions Bank at one time. And they lived in a predominantly white neighborhood. And I think that Josh was one of, well, I think he was one of 3 blacks in the school.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that on Fridays that he had all these kids, his quote unquote friends over. And all of a sudden I heard certain words. And they were joking, and these were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked over and I said, did you not hear what was said? And she just said, yo, they're just joking. I said, no, they're not joking. Why would children of their age know exactly what that word means? And why would they purposely tell jokes? Why would you even allow it?
Mm-hmm.
And so after a few minutes, she came back. She said, I never thought about it. I just took it for granted. I said, yeah, you took it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, you fail to realize that even though he has white friends, you haven't told him he's still a black boy.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
she said, what? I said, you fail to realize that even though, and yes, you do want them to have a mixture of friends and all, but you have a certain characteristic and a certain type of friend that you want your son to grow up with. But I have a problem when you allow those friends to say whatever they want to, and he doesn't, and he laughs because you fail to give to him that no matter, yes, you have white friends and that's good, but you don't have the same responsibility. You can't do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me how. I said, well, let me put it to you this way. I know for a fact that if they were teenagers and they were out doing questionable activities and they were stopped by the police, 9 times out of 10, those white boys are going to tell on your son, and he's going to be the one to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
She said,
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I said, exactly. Because you have become so indoctrinated in the white community that you forgot what it's like to be black.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what scares me the most. And that's one thing that I try to give to my godsons, that you can't do everything everybody else does. And you better not do everything everybody else does. You better have some type of common sense to know that if they're doing something wrong, you better be strong enough to say, I don't want to do it, because 9 times out of 10, there's going to be somebody else in that group who don't want to do it, but because of the pressure, they're going to do it. But you could save not only you, but you can save them too.
Mm-hmm.
And if the others don't want, that's fine. That's fine, because you don't need them around you, because if you're going to allow people to put you in a predicament purposely,
Mm-hmm.
well, then you deserve everything you get.
Mm-hmm.
And then then you're going to get me involved, and that ain't going to be good. So I can't imagine, because especially with your profession that you have, I could not even imagine,
Mm-hmm.
because you have that tightrope that you have to walk,
Yeah.
and that thin line, because you know you have 2 responsibilities, not only to your family, which is the most important, but also your job.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see Chop being Chop, people don't give you the recognition that you rightfully deserve, or the acknowledgement to both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, I can't, especially with the situation that we have now, since it's so open.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one reason why I was so glad that Dad was able to come,
Yeah.
because I wanted to acknowledge you purposely
Mm-hmm.
and publicly, both of you. Because, see, I cannot even imagine not only being a parent, but being a black parent,
Yeah.
which is an added, and people say, well, parents, no, they're not. Because, see, first of all, if you're a white parent, you don't have to have that talk.
No, you don't.
You don't have to have that talk.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking about the birds and the bees. We're talking about if someone stops, you make sure you follow whatever directions or instructions they give you, and then I'll handle it once you get home.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I know, I can't even you have in a lifetime. But when Joe and Tavares was out, I was taught that between the ages of 18 and 25 was the danger years. So I felt that if I can get them to be 25 years old, then I'm safe. I'm not safe no more
Mm-hmm.
because it has extended. So being a white parent, yes, you're going to have some similarities, especially when it comes to your children.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to being a black parent, you have an additional responsibility because you have that fear of what if.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of your position, you see it on an everyday basis.
Mm-hmm. And I had those. We had those talks with Chop and Journey about a lot of things. I mean, when I say expose them to things, we expose them to things. 'Cause I don't want them to go to school and certain things are being said and certain conversation being had, and they don't understand what's going on.
Correct.
So when I tell them, like, hey, when somebody does this or say this, they mean this.
Correct.
So when they see that at the school, like my daddy told me that. He said, when this has happened, this is what you're supposed to do. And they do it. Most of the time they do it. They're still kids and they're young. They make mistakes. But, we try to talk to them about everything. Because how my mind is, I think about one thing and I go 10 different directions with it.
There you go.
Like, this could happen if I do this. This can happen if I say that. This can happen if I don't do this. This can happen if I don't say that. And it just goes. So I'll just maneuver my mind. I start telling them, like, hey, if this kid say something to you, don't let it bother you.
Right.
Keep going. Long as they don't touch you.
That's it.
Tell your teacher. The kid touches you, you tell them, hey, don't put your hands on me. I don't appreciate that. If they keep touching you, you can defend yourself. And of course, the school systems, and you're going to get some punishment, but I can accept that.
Right.
But I'm not going to let you push my kids around.
Right.
I'm not going to let nobody do that.
Right.
Because I take that personal.
You're right.
If you're a kid his age, I'm not going to say I'm going around here beating up the kid, but
right.
I'm going to tell them how to handle the situation. And then we're going to sit down with the teachers, and we've done that multiple times, and we're going to tell them how the situation is going to be handled. We don't let them tell us what they're going to do with our kids. We're going to tell them how we're going to figure the situation out with our kid. That's how we do it. And a lot of times it works out for us. Most of the time, my wife does do most of the talking and handling all the stuff with the schools. She does.
So
she does.
Because I just saw it. So technically, Journey's like you.
Oh, my.
And Chop is like you, because you
well, see, I think
it depends on which angle you looking at.
I look at it a little differently. I think Journey acts more like me.
Okay.
And I think Chop acts more like his mother because his mother's more outgoing than I am.
Okay.
And then Journey's she can be outgoing, but after a while she's out of gas and she's done.
Right.
And I'm kind of like that. I'm like that. I mean, I can be outgoing and talking and laughing and joking. Then after about a couple of hours, I'm just kind of sitting there, just like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, Journey's when it comes to social issues, she's a little bit more assertive.
Yeah, she is. And
So,
go ahead.
Who's most assertive then, or you or me in those? Maybe I'm more vocal.
We both could be more. Both of us are assertive, but I think you're more vocal than I am. It's some issues that Tanisha handle, and I don't get involved in it. But if it's something that rises to the level to where I need to get involved and say something, I will.
So you.
Yeah,
I
will.
Go.
Yeah, I will. And like if she try to address an issue and she got some, she's trying to figure out how to handle it, we'll talk about it.
Right.
And then whoever got the best idea, we gonna go with it, and that's how it goes.
Chop and Journey, I'm curious. When you think of yourselves, who do you think you're most like? Me or Dad? Or neither of us?
You, Mama.
You think you're most like me?
Yeah. And then half of Daddy.
And half of Daddy. Journey, what about you? There's your microphone right here, honey.
I do the same thing.
I think the same thing.
You think you're a little bit of both? Okay.
Because see, she tickles me because see, when the mic's not around,
she's going. Yeah, she was amped up this morning. Amped up. I'm just looking. That's too early for this.
But once but see, I admire y'all so much so much that you take everything in stride,
Mm-hmm.
and then because of both of you being who you are, you sort of like you sort of like the old couple because each one of you know your place.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, in my family, we had strong women. We didn't have domineering women, and people don't seem to understand that there's a huge difference.
Yeah, big difference. Big difference.
I was raised with strong women. They knew their place. They stayed in their place. Now that sounds like it has nothing to do with substitute. It has nothing to do with passive or anything like that. The men in the family knew their place too.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that it was a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandmother knew how far to go with my granddaddy, but my granddaddy knew how far to go with my grandmama too.
Mm-hmm.
So my granddaddy knew when to step back and let Evelyn handle it. But when he felt, or when Evelyn had a certain mannerism, he knew when to step in.
Mm-hmm.
And to watch both of you work brought back a lot of memories when it came to my grandparents or when it came to the elders in the family. And see, that's how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised the same way. You know your place. You stay in your place. You accept your place.
Mm-hmm.
And because of everybody knowing what their place and their responsibility was, we didn't have any problems in the family. When the elders passed away, there was no confusion. We knew who was going to get what. There was no question because it was already known.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have to, and we were blessed in that we didn't have to have a will because it was understood because we knew our place.
Right.
And to watch both of you interact, especially with Chop and Journey, y'all have that old school when it comes to a family unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started in Birmingham in '88 and I learned about the families and all, it's dominant in your family that you were taught the same thing. Everyone has a responsibility in the family. Everybody knows exactly where their place is.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows when to step in and when to step back and let it be. But also, y'all know when to come together and talk the situation out and then come up with a conclusion. And now I can understand why Chop and Journey are the way that they are, because you not only gave them a foundation, but you gave them substance too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we did that.
And I don't know if every family, I would like to think that every family does have that in them, especially if you're raised by the authentic elders.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know.
I think everybody knows they just choose to do what they want to do instead. Like since I met my wife when I was 19, pretty much. So after I met her, I pretty much knew I wanted to marry her after a while. I'm like, yeah, it's going to go down. We're going to having kids, and we're going to have the house and the 2 cars thing. I already knew it.
Right.
And I knew I wanted to be there. I knew I wanted to be active. Oh, well, that 3rd car ain't mine, but thank you, Jay, baby. I just drive it, ain't mine. But we knew it. So when we used to have a lot of conversations about this kind of stuff. Like, we both want to be married. We both want to be parents. We both want to be active. We both want to raise our kids. It was none of this baby daddy, baby mama stuff, or
Right.
my kids stay with my baby mama. We don't do that.
Right.
All our kids live with us.
Right.
They live with me. We all together. And that's
Right.
how we do the family union thing. I do believe in that. And I wouldn't go out here and have 3 or 4 kids scattered all over the place. This is organization. You don't want to do that. That causes a lot of confusion.
Correct.
Oh, I'm active for my kids' lives. Why? Because they only see you 2 days out of the week you're active? Because you're paying child support, you're active?
There you go.
It takes more than just that.
Right.
You have to be there. And it means it makes a big difference. I've seen it with my father and all my cousins and all their fathers being married to their mothers and being involved. It makes a big difference. That's
Right.
the family unit. And people always talk about they care about the community. Well, in order for you to have a community, you got to start with a family first.
Correct.
Then you have a bunch of families together. Y'all have a relationship with each other. That creates a community.
Yes, sir.
And that's y'all can depend on each other. You can trust each other. Y'all can look after each other's kids. that's how that go. That's how it's supposed to go. But now it's just scattered all over the place.
Right.
And I don't like it. I really don't. You know, if I can help anybody that's in that situation, I like to try to. I wasn't always like that. But seeing how some people make they make bad decisions, not because they just want to be bad people, because they just don't know.
Right.
Nobody was there to tell them.
Correct.
And the only people that's there to tell them are the folks that's on YouTube, or on Facebook, or Instagram, or on TV, or music. I'm just like, those are not your leaders. Those are just entertainment. You don't listen to that. You should have your father, your mother there, your grandfather, your grandmother there, your elder uncles and cousins. That's who you learn from first.
Right.
Before you go to the schools and before you go to the churches, it's your family. So I'm a big believer in that.
So so y'all have always been active in church.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, my wife is more active than I am. I was raised in church. Don't get me wrong. I still have some of the same values. I'm just not as active in church as I used to be. I'm not gonna lie, but my main thing now is my family's my priority.
Correct.
Like I do for them before I do for myself. Now, every once in a while I do something for myself, but most of the things that I do is for my family.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
We're like what you said earlier too, Mr. Humes. We're more spiritual people than religious minded.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're personally not interested in just formality of church, and there's nothing wrong with people who are more traditional.
Correct.
In that sense, there's nothing wrong with that. But we do try to teach our kids godly principles, spiritual principles, and how they show up in the world. You have to take care of what's inside first.
That's right.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is very true.
I appreciate y'all. I'm so glad, Mr. Foster, you finally showed up.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I've heard so much about you for years. For years.
Don't believe anything she said. Now, anything that Chop and Journey tells you is true. But
it's true.
Yes.
Especially if Johnny tells you.
It's crazy because my brother-in-law say the same thing too that my wife says. So I'm like, it must be some truth to this. But it doesn't make you a bad guy. You a good guy. You know, I like you. You kind of remind me of myself a little bit.
Thank you.
I thought it was kind of interesting. It was funny because of how we see our kids and how other people see them. When you said the Journey's like me, a lot of people say that. And so that's interesting. Sometimes it's hard to see yourself.
But see, they're interchangeable. And see, that's another thing. I don't know if it's innate or not.
Mm-hmm.
But they know when mama to come out. They know when daddy's to come out. So they already have the sight to be able to read the situation and understand that, I need to be mama right now.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, and they know when we like about business. They know when we sit. They know when we're mad with them.
Right.
You know, when I was a younger parent, we were younger parents. We used to just go off and yell. But now we just give them that look, and they know what it is. We can do that. We give them that look, and they just straighten up. And we can do that. We do that. Like it was one time we was at my brother-in-law's barbershop, and my son was in the corner. I think he was in the corner with his two cousins, and they was over there talking and getting loud. And they kept getting loud, and I'm sitting there just looking at them, and I would look at it, and they would straighten up, and they started back up again. So I'm sitting in the chair getting my hair cut, so I just kind of do this motion with my finger like, come on over here. Told my son to come here. I grabbed his arm, pulled him close. I gave him some kind words of encouragement, as I like to say, kind words of encouragement. And he went back over there and sat down, and he behaved after that. And this lady that I didn't know, after I got up, she was like, sir, I have so much respect and admiration for you. And I'm like, well, what? The way you didn't just yell or just start whooping your son in public, you was able to grab him, whisper a couple of words in his ear, and he acted right. I said, well, man, that's how you do it.
Because that look, and even the younger cousins, because I'm the eldest, eldest of the grandchildren. When my grandmother started having the younger ones, my grandmother changed on me. Now, she says I changed her because I wore her out. Them lies. Evelyn wore me out. But there was always that look. And I knew that it's time for me to sit down. So I distinctly remember that Hope, the youngest one, was doing something. And she wasn't paying attention to the look. But once Evelyn gave the look, I sat down. My aunt and my grandmother started laughing. And they said, why did you sit down? I said, because you gave that look. Hope didn't see the look. I saw the look. And my grandmother was saying, but Lucy, I said, Mama, it didn't matter. I saw the look. I don't care who
The
you
10-second stare.
I knew to sit down and pray that the Lord would just hide me.
Mm-hmm.
So Hope would look at me and say, oh, I saved you. I saved you because, see, that woman that's standing right there, that's not the grandmother I was raised with. But that look that she was about to get you, now see, that's the Evelyn so I saved you.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, the old Evelyn was about to get you. So see, when you say the look, I remember the look. I remember the finger. Oh, you don't want the finger.
No, you don't.
Because the finger is just like them calling your full name.
Oh yeah.
Because see, they say Lewis. With me, all you had to do is say my middle name. I was good. I never allowed her to get to Paul Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
But for her to say Paul Lewis Holmes Jr., oh, I knew I was gone. I knew no running, no nothing. Just pray that as soon as I got to her, she forgot. Evelyn didn't forget. And they laugh at me because I was raised with my aunt who did everything. So I learned from Deborah what not to do. And people laugh at me. I knew how to dodge a frying pan before I knew how to dodge a ball. Because whatever was close, that's what Evelyn, that's what she threw.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that she threw the little small frying pan at my aunt. And I told her, you about to hit me. She said, well, you must have done something that I didn't catch you. I was like, this woman crazy. So when you talk about the look and when you talk about the finger,
Mm-hmm.
I remember the look. I don't like the finger.
Yeah.
I don't like the look. I didn't get into trouble much because I
Mhm.
wasn't into pain. So to see Journey and Hope, a Chop, I can only see but success.
Mm-hmm.
I see a foundation. I see substance. And then they have the love that's there that's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have all of you on here, I'm just totally blessed, and I appreciate y'all tremendously. I'm glad to see my niece and nephew again.
Thank
But
you.
I wanted to publicly let them know that they cannot and they better not allow anyone to abuse them, misuse them, or to say anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you may be young does not mean that you don't deserve respect.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that your voice does not have any type of value or worth.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're a human, you have value and you have worth. And they better never allow anybody to take or try to take that shine away from them. And know that they have a strong mom and dad, a strong village behind them. And then they have a great uncle who they don't want to see. But I'm proud of y'all.
Thank
Oh,
you.
appreciate
And
that.
see, and
Thank
because
you.
of your two books
Thank
and all, do you know that I've gotten on my next chapter? I'm just about finished my next chapter.
Congratulations.
I
Oh,
still
that's
have.
what's up. It's good to
I
hear.
still have-
Congratulations.
I still have a lot of
That's
chapters to
good.
do, but at least I got finished with the last one, and I'm on to another
Listen,
one.
We're here for it, man.
And then you starting on your set. Ooh, I got to get some catch up to do. Got to get some catch up to do. So what does the whole summer hold for you? What y'all gonna do for the summer? Y'all going on trips or what?
Vacation.
Oh, sure.
Vacation. They're gonna be doing some reading. They're gonna be doing some math. They're gonna be doing
Jiu-jitsu.
jujitsu.
Oh.
Working on more writing.
Swimming, writing. Yeah, they're gonna be helping us around the house. They're gonna be learning some things. So it's gonna be
We
a busy
also have
summer
a
for 'em.
book signing next month on June the 25th from 2 to 4 at Rochelle's place. So it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be set up like birthday party theme. And we have face painting and
Send me
House.
I'm getting
bouncy
my
houses.
face
Yeah.
Send me the information so I can announce it.
I will
Okay.
definitely
We'll
do
do
that.
that.
We will do that.
Mhm.
Yes. So we're excited about that.
So where can they find you?
You can find us on chopfriendly.com. You can also find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. What did you say, Chop?
Chop friendly.
Yes, our Journey with Us by Chop Friendly series is on those platforms as well.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
We're amping back up our YouTube and our podcasting
Oh,
this summer. So our YouTube, not the YouTube. I'm sorry, the podcast. You can find it on Apple.
Okay. And
Mhm.
Amazon.
Yes, books are on Amazon. Books 1, 2, and 3.
Oh yeah.
And
Go get the book.
please
So we
get
got
the book.
Go get
The
the
Boogie
book.
Out Birthday Party is the new release. Smile for Miles Brown, new release. And the original, The Sleepover in the Missing Bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, it's on there, Johnny. We know. Go get the book.
Go get the book.
Go
please
get
Get
the
the
book.
book. Get
get
the
the book.
book.
Yeah, go
Get
get the
the
book.
book.
Get the book.
Get
Get
no,
the
get
book.
the books. Get the books.
Book.
Get
Yeah.
the books.
Get the book.
Go get them. Go get them.
I appreciate y'all.
Yo,
It's
but
so
I
good to
can't
see
yell.
y'all.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
see you.
Thank you for
much.
having us.
But
We appreciate
don't
it.
forget to send me the information about Rochelle.
Definitely. June 25th from 2 to 4:30. Rochelle's Place. And I'll definitely make sure you get that information.
I appreciate y'all.
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate you.
Y'all have a wonderful day. Know your value, know your worth. Know also that I love you more than I love my luggage. I will see y'all. I will see y'all Monday.
All right, see you later.
See you Monday. Y'all take care. Got to get my eyes on here.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
The live stream on the show. The live stream. The live stream. The live stream on the show.